let's talk about attachment styles and how growing up, if you have grown up with insecure attachment style, so where your relationship with your parents was insecure, what you will find is that you will have an avoidant part. Now, there's so much content out there around avoidant attachment, and what I wanted to bring in is how we all have, who have insecure attachment that we're working through, a part of us that it's avoidant. And let's start with anxious. I'm going to tell you that part, the consequence of not looking at that part, and then what you can do about it. So with anxious attachment, the part that's avoidant is the part that denies, dismisses, and sort of devalues themselves, but denies, dismisses, and minimizes when someone is not that into you. Whether that's in work, whether that's in relationship, whether that's in friendship. You will dismiss times when people devalue you, dismiss you, minimize you, and push you away. And this is because growing up, it was your norm to be okay with that. Like, it was your norm to stay in relationship with your parents even when they did this to you. So it feels normal. Now, it wasn't until I went to therapy myself, so I have more of an anxious leaning attachment, that I realized that the way people spoke to me when they dismissed me, devalued me, and minimized my experience was not healthy, was not okay. So in therapy, what I work with, so what you can do is working on your value, seeing where you dismiss and minimize the kind of like when people are pushing you away. Now, examples of this. An example of this is, let's say when you're first dating someone and they say to you, you're not usually my type and I'm not really looking for anything serious. And your mind will fixate on how well you got along together, and that you spoke to this person for ages and it was so blissful, and you just had this deep connection. Your mind will create this fantasy around it, and it will dismiss all the other things that the person says that are actually telling you they're not that into you. So that's an example. What do you do then if you lean more anxiously attached? What's really important is that you see your value, you see your worth. You start to understand what healthy relating is. So if you're in a relationship with an avoidant person, what you will find is that you will feel more anxious in the relationship. You'll feel more needy. You'll feel this emptiness in the relationship where you're not really having your needs met. And it will just feel worse and worse as time goes on. And your feelings will probably escalate, where you get louder and louder. And so the only way to come out of this dynamic is for both of you to seek therapy, couples therapy, and to self-reflect and understand your attachment styles, understand your fears that come up. So that is how you would move forward in that space, and both to be willing to do that. Now let's move to more avoidance. So that's pretty obvious in the space of its avoidant attachment. So yes, that has an avoidant part. Avoidant attachment, though, the way that it manifests is it will be more around, I don't need therapy. I already know. I probably know more than the therapist. I'm probably smarter than the therapist. And if they do go to therapy, they will find that they will devalue or judge the therapist, pick up any mistakes or anything that they can hold on to say they weren't that good anyway, and feel a sense of shame for even maybe going, because it's weak. It's not, I don't really need it. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Everything's, I don't really need it. So that's how someone with more avoidant attachment will approach therapy and avoidance. It's more minimizing their own experience and their own upbringing. So my upbringing wasn't that bad. And also minimizing other people's experiences and upbringing. Stop being so needy. It wasn't that bad. Get over it. Let it go. So anything that's dismissive as well. So that's where an avoidant is more inclined to show their avoidance. They'll be quite avoidant in intimacy as well, and deep connection. I don't really need it. I'm more in, I kind of like more casual kind of style. I'm more of a someone that doesn't want to be tied down. I love my freedom. If they're in relationship, they will push their partner away by keeping busy. Busyness is a thing, so like being at work, keeping busy there, hobbies, all those sort of things. So how does someone like that come out of that space? Really starting to understand the consequences of it. So the consequences of being more avoidantly attached is loneliness, is a disconnect from self. So there will be this emptiness and this loneliness that they will feel, and unless they connect with that part, that vulnerability, the part that, you know, grew up and didn't have their needs met emotionally, they will not be able to move on and have deep connection in their life and to come out of that loneliness. You can be in relationship with another and still feel free. This is something that is really hard for someone who is avoidantly attached to believe, that I can be in relationship with another and also be free at the same time. So there's health symptoms that will come up as well if you keep in this avoidant space. Relationship breakdowns. There are just so many consequences around leaning more avoidant. So what do? As I said, you come back to the body, you lean into that vulnerability, lean into having an observer on board, how your mind will go, I'm fine. Start to understand the language of the internalized avoidant. I'm fine, I don't need it, I'm smarter, I'm better. That's the avoidant part. Anything that wants to suppress the reality. Avoidant people too in relationship will go into a fantasy bond to start with as well. So that's something that I'll speak into at another time. So then we'll go into disorganized. Now, how does avoidance show up in there? It's a bit different to avoidant attachment. It can be very similar, but it is a little different. And here's how it's different. If I am leaning more disorganized, this means that my trauma growing up was more severe than anxious attached and avoidant attached. And here's why. It's because it was really unsafe for me growing up. I have an avoidant part though. That avoidant part helped me cope growing up. And how that avoidant part helped me cope, I'm not saying me, I'm just saying as someone who leans this way. It helped me cope because I had to minimize, dismiss, and deny how bad my life experience was growing up. Because if I was connected to that and felt all the feelings, it would feel impossible to survive. So what I learned is to forget what happened. So what you'll notice is that you won't really have any memories around it. I also notice that I have minimized what my parents did. So I'll say it's not that bad. They weren't that bad. I don't really have trauma even sometimes. I'll also just dismiss and deny that anything really happened. And I don't need to go back to my past. So my resistance will be, and my avoidance will say, I'm fine as I am, and I don't need to relive the past. Now that's the avoidant part, trying to stay away from the feelings that it elicits. And the feelings can be feeling out of control, powerless, and terror. And so if I don't address these things, my anxiety will get high. I'll make many of my decisions based on fear, and I will get burnout. And I'll also have quite high anxious states, and then quite low states of depression, and kind of can't get out of bed. And this is because if you don't face the experiences that have created these fear response imprints in you as an adult now, it will get worse and worse. So your consequences are health symptoms, immune system health problems. It will be relationship after relationship breakdown. It will be burnout at work. It will be so many things that will come up because when we avoid, we're suppressing. So when we're avoiding, for more disorganized, we're avoiding the truth of how terrible it was growing up. So it's the truth from our parents, and it's the truth of how it impacted us. And so it is a little bit different to the avoidant attached, because the avoidant attachment, they had severe emotional neglect, but they may have had some practical material things that were, needs that were met. So they were encouraged at school. They had, but it could have been from a critical place. They had high expectations put on them. They had resources. Where someone with more disorganized, they may have had some needs met and some resources, but mostly needs weren't met. And you had to become quite resourceful. And that means that you had to go into survival mode at quite a young age. And so if you consistently stay in that survival mode, you may reach real high highs, but you may lose it also. So you may get the relationship of your dreams and then lose it. You may get the job of your dreams and then lose it. You may start a business and it starts off amazingly and everything looks great, and then you don't get the clients. So the consequences of not facing your past are really big. Then lastly, I want to talk about what it means to face your past. Now, a lot of modalities and people you might be drawn to if you lean disorganized or avoidant are around feel good, energetic work, kinesiology, Reiki, anything that is sound healing, anything that feels good. And this is because your nervous system is constantly in a fight, flight, or shutdown. So those modalities are very beneficial to regulate your nervous system. However, if you don't address the trauma that happened in relationship, relational trauma, and the only place it can be addressed is in relationship to another, you will find that your relationships will suffer still. So you will be able to achieve things to a certain point, and then when it comes to relating in with others, you may sabotage the opportunity, because your ability to stay in relationship with others may suffer from not having done the work around that. So your flight response will come in and the stories will come in, and then it will sabotage your growth. So the consequences are quite high. So going back to how do we address this? So a lot of modalities you'll be drawn to, let's say, that are not relational. But if we come back to relational, the most important thing is not bulldozing yourself. So your body and being and experiences around you are constantly signaling to you what needs to be heard, seen, and processed. Now, when I work with clients, I work in the present moment. I don't go back to memories unless it's come up for you and you have experienced that your memory, you're getting a certain memory, you're getting a symptom. So we really track what's happening and then we process that. And the reason we do this is because if your body is having a symptom, memory, or dream, it's happening for a reason. Anytime, and this includes relationship challenges too, any challenge that comes up for you, anything where anything that's manifested on the outside, any feelings or symptoms that come up for you, anything like anxiety or depression increase, this is all your body signaling to you that something wants to be seen, heard, and understood.